The system is running, taking its first trades, looking fairly good. Equity curve also here in my backtest is looking magnificent. Healthy amount of money and then recouping the losses by tiny little profits. Okay, actually I do see some tendencies of martingale. The system is simply not realizing losses. Oppa. Actually right here you see that we actually took a great hit. That system is absolutely unpredictable. It's kind of a gambling system. It is kind of a breakout system. We take a view on the Quantum Emperor MT5 from Bogdan Ion Puskazu. And yeah, it's currently ranking fairly high on the MQL5 market. Here for around $1,000 you can get this kind of trading bot. And in this video, we will just simply go through all the information we have at hand to make up our mind. First of all, we see some sales commerce talk that it is or used to be on a promotional launch, creating some FOMO. So that is a classy sales tactic. Nothing bad with it, of course. And then already with the upside, what you see here, what is super nice to see, that they actually provide a live signal. Let's quickly check it out. It is currently sitting at 7%, 100% algo trading, profit trades 100%. All right, fair enough, good stats. However, it is only live for 1 week. Definitely not enough time just passed by. So worthwhile pursuing this kind of signal. What I would recommend of simply copy pasting the hyperlink here in the upper corner, saving it somewhere in your folder and checking it back, because what we already saw in the past is that EA providers, creators, coders, they simply switch off the signal after a while when they realize, oh, it's actually going down, we are in a big drawdown, we are making losses. What they simply do, they switch off the actual signal, turn off another one, what they had in their backhand, which is still doing all right, and they have maybe 5 or 6 of them, yeah, they play the game of probabilistics, right? So if one signal is going down, there will be another one which is just surviving, maybe another week, another month, maybe even another quarter, just to give you the feeling that the signal is good enough. But as of now, right now, I see no reasons why this system or why this information should be rigged. I would just be cautious in that sense and copy paste the hyperlink. Let's pursue. So you also have a MT4 version for that one. We can skip it. Quantum EA channel. That is also definitely an upside. You can join the group and you can ask other buyers and actually also the creator Bogdan himself, what is definitely a big plus. Otherwise it would be always kind of a red flag if you can't really exchange your thoughts and get in contact with like past clients, getting a feeling how the bot is doing. Afterwards you see quite a superficial description of what the system is doing. It's not really explaining much. I didn't really understand what it is supposed to say me. Then probably what is the important part, the recommendations, more or less the context in which you can apply this kind of trading bot. So you use it on Great British Pound USD. Time frame 1 hour, fair enough. You have to have at least $500 in your trading account, fair enough as well. Then some recommendations for brokers and the account type, and another remark that the spread should be rather low. Well, of course, that is the best case for almost every system, but maybe already a little sneak peek that might be particularly interesting, since this system is taking very small profits. So that is why those small profits might be eaten up when you are taking a broker which is having big spreads. Besides this, some more information. Actually, this is where all the juice is. You see that there is a stop loss with 250 pips for every trade. The exit strategy is incorporated via a trailing stop using the 1 hour chart. That is also not really telling me much how the trailing is working. It is just telling me that there is actually a trailing management. Then that is also a sense I didn't really understand, that orders are being split into 7 smaller orders. It's really also not, that is like a complex sentence, and I would expect to have a little bit more explanation when Bogdan is already dropping the fact that there's somehow kind of a mechanic which is a bit more complex, more sophisticated. Why not elaborating on it? enabling me to understand actually what it does. Auto lot function incorporate, okay, whatever that means in that particular case. Maybe it's just adjusting position sizing. So that is maybe just a fancy word for martingale. We will check it out later on what it actually means. Then that is not telling us much. That is not telling us much. VPS, well, that is really nothing, has nothing to do with the bot itself. It simply means that you have your own virtual private server, which is running 24/7. Definitely recommendable for every bot, because then you are simply less likely running into errors, right? When you have it run on your own laptop, it might shut down after a while. You have to do updates and stuff. It's better to actually have a VPS, which is simply running 24/7 without interruptions. Let's go to those fancy pictures. So here you actually see, let me actually start with this kind of chart. A chart starting in 2015 up to May of 2023, so very recently, and absolutely no idea where we started, because these numbers are ridiculous high and we are here somewhere in the billions. So it's not really telling me anything about returns, but what actually shows me that there are some symmetries in this backtest graph, what is a low-key red flag, because then it might be a signal or like an indication that it's using martingale, or kind of like a gambling system in which you try to simply don't realize your losses, simply double down on those and actually hope for the best, that in one day you can make a small profit. So you simply wait, you sit out, even though you are in a steep loss, like in this area or like in this area here, and then in some points you simply have to realize those losses. So somewhere there has to be a threshold in this trading system. But primarily when we zoom in a little bit, you actually see these losses are, these wins, are tiny compared to the downside actually. Like here, tiny wins, and here we are actually in a huge drawdown. So now let's continue with the other provided screenshot. We kicked off with 10K and ended up with almost 100 million, or 92 million to be precise. So that is just a ridiculous remark. It is just also a salesy screenshot. It's having absolutely no value. It is supposed to make you greedy, creating some FOMO, and it's definitely overselling it. You also see that the balance drawdown is around 40%, what is way too high, since that simply means that, let's assume you started with 1,000 euros at one point of time. You were just sitting at 600 bucks. Probably not precisely, but you were like losing that much relatively to your account size, and that is way too much, because the money on your account is the oxygen in trading. You need this to breathe, to be able to take the next opportunity, and having such a big drawdown is definitely not responsible. But however, you see the drawdown to return is insanely good, right? So even if you lower your risk by a lot, let's assume, I don't really know, the screenshot is not telling it. It's not telling it me how much risk this backtest is incorporating. Let's say it started with like 5%. You could go with 0.1%. You would have still a insanely good return, right? And an all right drawdown then. And now let's go to the profit trades, which is sitting at 96%. That is insanely high. That is too good to be true. Maybe, I'm not sure, but it's definitely showing me that this system is very likely a scalping system, maybe even combined with a martingale approach. So it simply means martingale, you double down after a loss to recoup all your losses and go back to break even and then hope for a profit. And scalping simply means that you take tiny little wins instead of waiting for the big win, or like for a normal size win. Let's say you risk 1% and you want to take home 1%. When you scalp, you risk 1%, and then, for example, you take 0.1% home. So the risk to return profile is definitely off in scalping, but it is also a viable trading approach. So no hate at this point, of course. That is just a very insane, very good looking statistic here, and it shows me that it is very likely a scalping system. Just another screenshot. I would assume that the creator just like tuned down the risk size of each trade, and now we are only sitting at 3.8 million starting from 10K. The drawdown is now sitting at 17%. So, well, same example, right? He probably kicked it off with like 5% per trade. Now he tuned it down to maybe 0.5% or 1%. And that is not really telling us much about the whole system, because yeah, he probably likely only tuned down the position size. Just another screenshot with a little bit more information. Starting from 15 to 2023, it's the same one, I would assume. Low risk settings, and yeah, it's not really telling us much, right? You just see the symmetries. It's like way too perfect. It's like normally like a best practice is the uglier the backtest chart is, the more faith you can have in the system that it's actually also performing on the live market. Because if a backtest chart is as perfect as you see it here, there's something off. There's definitely something missing or lacking, because that actually does not exist in the real world. Otherwise, you would have had the holy grail in trading, and well, we all know that that actually does not exist. So this equity chart makes me very suspicious. So now we actually went through the whole description. Let's quickly check out the reviews, and I was going through them already, and there was one pattern in those 9 comments, is that the creator's name, Bogdan, was mentioned fairly often. So then I was like, okay, let's actually check out what the creator Bogdan is doing. And he actually published already quite a lot of other expert advisors. I was going on his profile, going on his website, incredibletraders.com, and just getting a feeling for who is the guy behind the Quantum Imperia MT5. Well, it's a nice and modern looking website, but no extra information really provided. I would say he's just doing something similar like MQL5, providing bots you can download on the website. I think that's definitely worthwhile checking this out. It's not really adding much to the MQL5, because if you go on the website itself, you don't really see any affiliations with what you saw here on MQL5. So these two websites coexist, and it's not really adding much. It's just showing me, well, that he is doing it not just as a hobby, but actually maybe as a proper side hustle, maybe even as a company. So that is giving me some hope that the guy behind the Quantum Imperia, Bogdan, might be in for a treat. So let's now actually head over to MT5. I already downloaded the system in the market, put on Great British US dollar, and the settings normally, or what you often see in other systems, is a ton of settings to make the system look sophisticated and complex and superior whatsoever. In that case, you don't see too many settings. What is lovely to see, you see like start date and end date. To be honest, the settings are a bit confusing, and I don't really understand how to use them as well. So I would just keep them sitting at default. Probably when you check out the chat with Bogdan and the other clients, you can probably get a stronger understanding of what those means. But I would assume that the default settings should be fine for our purpose of getting a feeling what the system is doing. Definitely upside that there are not too many settings. You're not being too much confused, and that is definitely a plus. The system is running, taking its first trades, looking fairly good. It is a 100k account, and now we just opened a ton of new trades. What is very confusing in my point of view is that the system is opening, indeed, as promised, 7 trades, but they are all the same. So they are opened at the same price level, they have all the same stop loss, they have the same take profit level, and that doesn't really make sense to enter the market on the absolutely same time and price. That doesn't really make sense for me just right now. So let's maybe see if there is a turn, an angle which I was missing so far. What actually reasons, right, the taking so many trades. So what you see right here already is like the expected missing proportion of profits to losses. You have a huge drawdown right now from our account, sitting roughly at 7.5%, and yeah, tiny little wins right now sitting at 2.5% or even a little bit less, around 2%. So yeah, that is pretty much the nature, I would say, of a system that is scalping. Okay, actually I do see some tendencies of martingale of the first trades taken. So actually check out the history. And we saw the first ones were profitable. So that is all fine. Let's actually do it like this. That is all fine, so I don't expect to change that. The system is changing the lot size, which is here on the 100k account sitting at 0.57, 0.58. Right here you can see it's almost doubled. My best guess is that the system is simply not realizing losses. You simply keep them open as you see it here on the chart. And the expert advisor is checking, are we currently in a floating loss? If yes, then double down to recoup those losses quicker. That would be my best guess how this system is working. Then this is just another form of martingale. And yeah, it's not the classy one, how often you see it with other systems where you enter a trade, you exit the trade, you realize a profit or a loss. If you realize the loss, you double down on the next one. This one is doing it then a little bit more sophisticated, smarter, if you want to say it like this. It sees, right now we are in a loss. The next trades, I will simply double down on the position size. So the first trades I took are not that important anymore, because then if I'm running into profits here, it will be all fine. And then what I would assume happens next, if even the second launch of the next 7 trades with a double sized is also not working out, the third batch of entering with another 7 trades, why whatsoever 7, to make it a magic number maybe, like in the casino, the lucky number 7, you enter again with the double sized, and then you try to simply water down the very first 14 trades with now the last 7 trades with the biggest lot size you have in the market. That for now is my best guess how this system is surviving and why this equity curve also here in my backtest is looking magnificent. This chart, I must say, it's looking so great, so nice. Oppa. Actually right here you see that we actually took a great hit. It was going very good, and then suddenly we are losing a bunch. Right now we are here also in a healthy drawdown, also losing again a healthy amount of money and then recouping the losses by tiny little profits. And you actually see once again, you double down. Let's actually stop it right here. Maybe you can even see it here in the open trades, 0.85 for the new ones. And you see we are here actually above 1.1 lot. Are we even escalating a little bit more sometimes? No, not really. Here we were actually a little bit bigger, 1.35. So yeah, I would guess it's like a combination of just simply watering down the first trades you took, which then didn't work out, and then also closing some trades. You see here there are some smaller losses and some bigger losses. I guess the system is then doing kind of a mix to cut your losses after a while when it's really like late or whatsoever. So it's kind of a gambling system. So let's maybe see if there is anything else interesting happening so far. But I would actually say the system is not scam. So that is definitely a big upside. Bogdan, the creator behind the system, behind the Quantum, he is doing what everyone does on MQL5, right? It's like you are overselling it, you're making it as attractive looking as only possible. And I would say like most people would do it, right? Overselling it to make a quick buck, to make a win. But it seems like that Bogdan tries to be responsive, and he's creating a forum so you can ask him questions. He's also having a live signal as for now. So once again, I will put the hyperlink of the signal in the video description as well, in case Bogdan is maybe, despite of the fact what he's doing right now, one of the people who's then deleting a bad signal, replacing it with a better one. Check it out in the video description. Very curious how it's going in the next few days. It seems like that this system from him is picking up on the MQL5 market, And yeah, I mean, it's a nice, interesting system, but I would never really put my personal money into it or other people's money as well, because that system is absolutely unpredictable. It is not really trading off of an edge, despite of the fact I don't understand from where those short and long positions are coming from. I try to analyze it a little bit. It is kind of a breakout system, but despite of from that, I was not really able to understand what the system is doing. So overall, the edge of the system again lies in the martingale approach, or in the risk sizing, position sizing, and that in the long run is not a viable trading approach. It is maybe fun to see, it is fun to watch, and I would agree, it is a nice system which you can follow, and you maybe want to put $50, $100 in it just to get this kind of satisfaction, burn your fingers, but burn your fingers only once and then head off to a proper trading system, and don't put a significant chunk of your savings into this kind of system, what you see right here, because you see you are always that close of jeopardizing your whole savings when you're super unlucky, because this can also happen in the very beginning of this trading journey, right? And then you saw we were sitting here on 240k, then suddenly only sitting at below 200, so 190, losing 50k, so 20% right from the bat. That is way too much, and you have no guarantee that you are recouping your losses that quickly, that nicely, like in the backtest, because real life trading is definitely different than the backtesting environment. And these were my 5 cents to the Quantum Imperia MT5. I'm very much looking forward to your thoughts, to your feedback. If you bought the full version, how you're doing in your forward testing. And I will also put in a link for a Telegram group, so you can actually have an exchange of thoughts with other people who are interested in trading bots, MQL5, coding your own trading bots. That was my take to the Quantum Imperia MT5. See you in the next one. Cheers and goodbye.